Hello. Hello, welcome to the Daily Political Tarot Readings here on the Black and Orange channel. I hope you are well. It is summer in the Northern Hemisphere, and so we're trying to do a little more summery today. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. And if you are watching this on replay, hello, you can go down into the description box. When I'm done here, I go down and I type out all the questions from today and I timestamp them. So you can go down and you can choose whatever you're interested in and just go straight to it. You're, of course, welcome. You're welcome to come and hang out any day of the year. I am here 365 days of the year. But also, you know, at the beginning we chit-chat and talk, and so we kind of a hangout at first, and then I do the readings, and that's all time stamped. So that's taken care of. 10% of all income that comes into the channel goes to feedingamerica.org, which supplies food to food banks across the country. It's an ongoing thing. We have epic troll slayers. We have Helm's Deep quality troll slayers. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. And if I don't answer your question or I choose not to read on it, it is never anything personal. I promise. It really, I feel terrible when I hurt your feelings. So questions for me, just put them in all caps in the chat. Anything in all caps in the chat is how I know you're talking to me. And other than that, please just type normally when you're talking to others. So because people have whole conversations and things that have that would just sidetrack me. And so I just stick to my knitting here, and you guys are really kind and supportive to each other. Again, thank you. People warned me how awful YouTube would be, and you guys are so not that. You're so fantastic. So anyway, all right. I've already got some of your questions. I've got about 7 listed here. Plus, I thought it was time. Let me see how bright this is. Hey, okay. I thought maybe we would go over just a little bit of the astrology of the January 6th Select Committee. So, oh, thank you. Thank you, Pamela. So I just want to go over a couple of things. I didn't want to go into it in incredible in depth, but at least just a couple of things to keep in mind. Oh, Christine, thank you. Thank you, Christine. Thank you. Okay, but before I do that, I do want to go in and make sure I grab the other questions in case YouTube wants them to what is the term, disappear them. I'm going to make them go away. All right, so last question I had was the Mark Meadows one. Got that. Rudy, got that. Democratic leadership, got that. Tax hike, got that. Velma's mama, reinstatement talk of sniffy more than grift raising. I don't believe so, but let's have a look. Got that. So, and I could have sworn there was something else. Yesenia, was Giuliani secretly given a pardon? Let's have a look. That'll be number 9 today on the hit parade. And okay, so I've got 9 questions. Also, Kathleen was saying, please check the availability of closed captioning. I double checked my settings. It's on, and I have been over. Wait, what? Dave, that sweater. You could change the name to Purity Tarot. Just joking, you're perfect just the way you are. Oh, Dave. Oh, Dave. Anyway. Automatic captions on live stream videos. They're currently being rolled out on English channels. that channels that have over 1,000 subscribers, and I have more than that, thank you, and are streaming at normal latency with professional captions unavailable. And the feature hasn't been turned on. Okay, so troubleshooting. If your live stream doesn't show automatic captions, it could be due to one or more of the following. Number one, the feature hasn't turned on for your channel, as we're slowly, they've said this slowly multiple times now, we're slowly rolling out channels, rolling it out to channels. Language of the video, no, it's in English. The video has poor sound quality and YouTube doesn't recognize the speech. Oh, no, they usually recognize me. Or there are multiple speakers whose speech overlaps, or multiple languages at the same time. So that's the latest I've heard. I haven't seen anything yet that I've been searching, but I haven't seen anything yet that I could click on to just make it work if it's not coming on. So I want to help. I want to help. I do. So sorry, Kathleen, that's the best I can do at the moment, but I'll keep looking. I will keep looking. Okay. All right. So is that everything? I think so. All right. The astrology. I'm going to have a little trouble. I actually could pop out the chat here. Well, no. How big can I make this thing? Because I look at there. Okay, that's decent sized. Okay. So make a note here. Oh, I also did I put in the one, yeah, about will Trump's kids testify? I do have that in there. Okay. So astrology of January 6th Select Committee. All right, and we'll start at 7:30. All right. Welcome, class. We're going over our astrology today. All right. I'm just going to try to focus on this. My foot is good now. Thank you, Holly. Thank you. It has survived me. My being a klutz. Okay. So I had a highlighter. No, seriously, I had a highlighter. Okay. I wonder if there's any left in here. That is so strange. Oh my gosh. I was reading this book and I had a highlighter. Oh well. I got this one might have something. I know what I'll do. I know. Pull this out. Hopefully this will show up well, because this is what I want to switch to in general. And I'll find the link to this if anybody's interested. But these are, rather than having these plastic highlighters, which are not very good for the environment, these are jumbo, they're highlighter pencils. So they work pretty well. But let's start with the yellow and see how that works. Doesn't show up, we'll try the orange. And we'll just keep trying things until something works. Okay, whoops. Okay. Joanne, I read about McCarthy and his joke yesterday in great detail. So it's back there. So if you look at yesterday, it's there. All right. It's going to be more like 10. So the January 6th Select Committee. So for those of you who haven't watched me talk about astrology before, I try to keep things simple, not just because I'm afraid of talking over. I know so much. I think I'll talk over someone's head. No, it's not like that. I think it is relatively simple, and in the same way that you need. I think with the best way to deal with tarot is just start with keywords. You just a keyword or a couple of keywords for a card, know those, and then you can open yourself up to understanding more or whatnot. I think it's the same with astrology. So I have a sheet that is free on Patreon. Do I have it handy? I think you might have it handy. Usually I keep it right here. But it's kind of a cheat sheet, and it's a good way to understand when I'm talking about the different parts of the chart. Boo Boo sleeping right down here. All right, I don't think I've got the big one, but I do have this one handy. So I will just open this up. Do I have any of the bigger ones? No, this will do. All right. This is an earlier version of this, but it'll work quite nicely, I think. So we'll be able to explain things in a way that's understandable. All right, so starting at 12. All right, there is a, if anybody's trying to learn astrology, there's something to keep in mind, and that is that it isn't, oh, I've got to learn this and that, and it's all very, and this and over here. Actually, there's like a base chart. I don't do Vedic astrology, White Dragon. I'm sorry. This is Western astrology. I haven't had much luck with Vedic astrology in my life or my chart. So Western I have. So that's what I sort of know. Just right. Autumn and her knickknacks. Yeah. There's a basic chart. Earth is in the center. There are 12 constellations that we talk about. And so the night sky, it's like a ring around the, imagine, just take the equator and blast it outward. And wherever it goes out, you'll find, basically, you'll find these different constellations in a circle. And then on the plane that all the planets are on, you'll find planets moving through. From our position, though, it looks like they're moving in a circle around us, but Galileo was saying, no, we're not actually the center of the universe, but it looked like we were, so that's what people believed for a really, really long time. All right, so in the chart, the Earth is at the center. You can think of the equator. If you look out from the equator in all these different directions, you get, and and the way that they draw it, it starts with Aries here, and then Taurus and Gemini and Cancer, and all right. And there are two main things. There's an ascendant or descendant, which is where what was ascending over the horizon or descending under the horizon when you were born. There's a midheaven, which is your status and where you're trying to go in life. And then there's called the IC, it's Latin. It stands for a Latin term that nobody uses. this is your home life in your childhood and where you came from. So in each of these constellations out here, that energy, like Aries here, is ruled by one of the planets, and Aries is ruled by Mars. There are different types of signs as well: water, fire, earth, air. Okay, so if you have a sheet, and then each of these wedges is called a house. Okay, so if you learn, and then these are just symbols for the different planets and astrology signs. Okay, this is kind of your cheat sheet. When this planet is in, like when Saturn is in Capricorn, it's really happy. It's home. Okay, can be a little bit too much, but it's home, and each planet has its own energy. All right, so that's kind of where we're starting from. So let me just point out a couple of things, so you're not looking at this and being like, what? Hopefully. This the January 6th Select Committee started at 9:30 a.m. in Washington, D.C. on July 27th. So I look at the chart. I pull this up. Now, the first thing I do when I look at any chart is very simple, how much red, these show aspects between the different planets, all these lines. How many red lines are and how many blue lines are there? Because blue lines are going to be more gentle energy. Red lines is going to be perhaps more contentious. Well, there's a lot of red. Okay, that's like, all right. And you've got a couple of things where planets are in the same place. They're conjunct. So that when you have that aspects to something else, it's going to be even stronger. All right. Hello, Becca from House of Lenormand. Do follow House of Lenormand. All right, so I looked at this chart, and the first thing I always look at is, where's the sun? Okay, the sun is your sense of self. This goes for events as well. It goes for people, events, buildings, the creation of this cup. If I knew when it was created, technically this cup has an astrology chart. All right. So this committee's sense of self is in Leo, which is the natural king of the zodiac. And if they aren't the king, they want to be the king. So I look at where the sun is, and then I look for the moon. I look there, these are what are called the luminaries. So the moon here is in Pisces. Interesting. So there's going to be a sensitivity to it. Pisces is a water sign. It's actually the last water sign. It is known for being spiritual and the most in touch with the other side. But it can also be fanatical. If you think about the last 2,000 years, we were in the age of Pisces. And at the beginning of the age of Pisces, ages last about 2,000 years, roughly. We had Yahshua of Nazareth. Fisher of men. Pisces, symbols, fish. Symbol for Christianity for a long time was fish. This sensitivity, a lot of Pisces I know, not all, but a lot of Pisces I know who it's that they already kind of have one foot on the other side, because it's the last sign in the zodiac. And they, generally speaking, they're sensitive, and they don't want to deal with people. So there's a sensitivity here, which I thought was interesting. All right, so this is the moon, and this is at 18 degrees, so 22 degrees, so very close, is Neptune. That's what I noticed right away. All right, this is great. Sun is very close to Mercury. So great, sense of self, going to speak. It's going to, and it's going to care. And its sense of self is going to be about communication, which is good. You want that in a committee. Also, this Mercury is back here in Cancer. And if you notice the colors, the blue are water signs. So the communication will be, this is the big mom of the zodiac. So there will be sensitivity in communication, and there will be feelings. This moon is the emotional self, is in Pisces. So this is not a callous type thing. This is sensitive, caring, but make no mistake, you do not minimize a Leo. That will not work well at all. All right, so you've got this. Now, the moon is your emotions, your emotional nature, how you express emotions, what you need emotionally. And it's right in the same, it's basically in the same place as Neptune. Neptune is Neptune was the god of the sea. And Neptune is associated with, it actually rules Pisces. And so it is associated with spirituality. It's also associated with art, institutions, like the church, that kind of thing. Oh, Alfie's eating. It can be fiction. People who have Neptune actually 90 degrees away from Mercury, which isn't the case here, but people who have that aspect, like Trump does, not always, but they have there's a chance that they are just inevitable liars. It's not always the case. But for people who don't work at it, who don't use their power for good, kind of thing, like Trump. All right. So this can be fantasy, art, spirituality, fiction. And Neptune and the moon, I mean, the moon, think about what the moon does to the sea, making it rise high and fall down, and tides and all kinds of stuff. So this is emotionally volatile, but also sensitive. All right. Now, let me see what else popped out at me on this. Generally speaking, there's the law is usually ruled by Sagittarius, but the house of Sagittarius is the 9th house up here, which is this wedge. It actually says 9 right there. And this is sitting there. This is Uranus. It looks like an H, kind of, with a doohickey hanging down. It was discovered by a man named Herschel. So that's a good way to remember the sign for Uranus. Uranus is the rebel. It is the flash of insight, the unexpected, it rules Aquarius, the water bearer. It is basically one of the main things. There's a very strong Uranus Aquarius in the US chart, where we get this whole freedom thing, this whole rebellion thing, that's what that is. So we have this rebelliousness, the planet of rebelliousness is in a tense aspect, because it's at 14 here. So it is in a very tense aspect to the sun, the very essence of this committee. And then over here, It's also in a tense aspect. Right over here, we have Saturn. Now, this is good. All right. Saturn here, this is the sixth house. This is the house of Virgo. It's the house of everyday work, the house of the craftsperson. This is the meticulousness. I always think of Japan. It isn't, strangely enough. Tokyo is, but Japan isn't actually Virgo. But boy, think of all that meticulous art that they make, and craftsmanship, and how beautiful, and even food is crafted and presented. All that kind of meticulousness. That is this house, and this right here is Saturn. Saturn actually rules Capricorn, which is about status. But the thing about Saturn is it's all about forming things, whereas Neptune is about dissolving things, like things dissolve in the ocean. Saturn is about forming things, boundaries, laws. Hard work, if you work hard, you will succeed. That is the energy of Saturn. It's not fun. It is not the life of the party, but it is very straightforward. So this solidity, this strength, sitting in the house of this meticulousness, that's good. It's actually opposite the sun. And when you get things that are opposite each other, you get the seesaw effect, right? You got the sun here, you got Saturn over here. So the sun, there's fun stuff going on over here. Saturn, very straightforward, no party. All right. But what happens is that because they're interacting with each other, the meticulousness can raise the sense of self, the sense of self of the committee, of what they're doing, of their work, can go up because of their meticulousness. But there are times when that grandiosity, sorry, I've got this backwards. I'm actually doing it backwards. It doesn't matter. But the grandiosity, if they don't calm down some of that grandiosity and let the meticulous work stand up high, it will really shine. That meticulous work will shine. But you got to turn down the grandiosity. You've got to turn that down, and then it can go like this. But that can be good if the sun is willing to let the actual research, the hard work stand for itself and not take credit. And so far, this committee seems quite good about that. But this can be a problem, like in relationships. If your sun is directly opposite your spouse's sun, it feels great because when you're around each other, one of your sense of self can be lifted up, or their sense of self is lifted up, but somehow you're willing to take a step back so they can shine, and you're helping make them shine, and this is great. Except over time, if there's a certain amount of resentment that builds up. So that's the opposition. So that's what's going on between the sun here and Saturn there. Now 90 degrees, so this 90-degree angle, which is going to be this tension, the grit, the grit that makes the pearl, the grist in the mill, is this sense of rebelliousness in the house of law. So that's the energy I'm getting, but that's very, this is where it all is going to grind. It's going to, this rebelliousness in the house of law is going to grind. Thank you, Dave. Against this. Now, how are they going to go forward? Mars, this is Mars right here. Mars is how you act. it rules the first sign in the zodiac. When you're born, you cry out, I am here. I take action. I exist. This is the soldier. So if you want to know how they're going to take action, so Mars here is also in Leo. So they're not close to each other, but they're in the same sign. So there's going to be a basic understanding that the sense of self of the committee and how they act, that's hand in glove right there. That's the self, and that's the gauntlet. Hand in glove right there. And they will not be trodden upon. The whole committee's, it's Leo energy. They're not going to be walk over me. Sit down, peasant. And also this is still it's right near this line to go into the first house, but it's still in the 12th house, and the sun here is in the 12th house, the house of Pisces, the house of institutions. So taking action in this house of institutions, hand in glove, with sensitivity, lots of sensitivity. I don't think it's too wide to have that much of an effect. There's also, let me see, what else have we got here? Well, that's the big thing. Those are the big things. Oh, one other thing I wanted to point out. The way this chart is set up, there are different ways you can set charts up. Quite in default, usually this line between the 9th and 10th houses is the midheaven, but I do what Andre at Astrology Alert does, which is you use whole signs. Each house is a whole sign. So that puts this midheaven in this 10th house of status, so it's happy there. But here's the thing. Midheaven is what you're doing, where you're going, what you're aiming toward, what your status. Back in the day, let's say 200 years ago, if an astrologer was looking at a woman's chart and wanted to, and the question was, when will you marry? They didn't tend to look at the places in the chart that talk about love. They'd look at the 10th house of status, because a woman getting married was going to be vital to her status. All right, so we've got the midheaven right here. That's the midheaven, the MC. Now, it's hard to see, but right next to it is this little upside down horseshoe shape. This one has a T in the middle of it. All right, but this is this little horseshoe shape right here. This is called the North Node. I'm not even going to try to explain what the North Node is. It has to do with where the moon is. It's a mathematical point. It's not a thing in the sky. But then again, neither is your midheaven. But where this North Node is basically the area what you're here to do, what you're, and the universe will reward you the more that you focus your energies on that, the energy, the topics of the sign that your North Node is in. My North Node is in Aquarius. I'm not here to be a queen. Matter of fact, quite the opposite. My South Node is in Leo. That's the past. I'm here to promote equality, to help everyone. Rising tide raises all boats. And the more that I do that, the more success I have. The more I am the water bearer, the more that I help. Right? This committee's North Node is in Gemini, the sign of communication. Okay? That's good. We want a committee that communicates. It is also within just a few degrees of that midheaven. So what this committee is here to do, kind of their work order, is to communicate. And it's to communicate to the world in hanging from high noon. So keep that in mind as well. Okay. Yes, Kathy Anderson, your North Node is in Leo. You are here to be a queen. Now, I pulled a couple of other charts. I won't go into as much detail, but I did want to point out. Do I have something a little bit smaller than that? Yeah, I've got one with all the aspects, but no, let's see. Is this the? All right, this is a simpler one. Yeah, we're not gonna do that. No, I like myself and you way too much to go into all that. We'll go with the basic, just the basic information we need. Now this is called. It's a weird word. This is called a synastry chart. SYN, synastry. Okay, that's when you take this in blue right here is what we were just looking at. There's that sun we were talking about with Mercury, Mars there, Saturn over here, the moon and Neptune right there. So what's in this blue circle right here? That is the committee's chart. That's what we were just looking at. Now, this red chart out here, this is Donald Trump's chart. And so you compare, and these lines here, you see red and blue here and whatnot. These lines are how the aspects between the January 6th chart and Trump's chart. Okay. What did I? Hang on a second. Let me just have a look. I did whole signs. Just having a quick look here. Okay. Yep, that's the thing I was thinking. That was the thing I was thinking about, and that. All right. Just wanted to figure out where I am because I've also got McCarthy on here. That's interesting. But let's quickly go over Trump here. The thing about Trump's chart, let me see if this highlighter is going to work. Trump has this great big mess of, it works. His sun and Uranus the rebel and his North Node, what he's supposed to be doing. And they're all together in the house of Gemini, which is communication. Since Uranus also, it rules Aquarius, which rules technology, you've got this whole want to be famous on TV, want to use technology to communicate, want to use technology to communicate. It's really using technology to communicate, but of course so this is what he's here to do. All right. And then he was born during an eclipse or near an eclipse. So directly across from his sun, that mess up there is his moon. Let me draw ye old straight line. And yes, I'm using a ruler because I'm a Scorpio, but it's in the 6th house of meticulousness. So of course I'm using a ruler. Have you met me? All right. Trump's moon is across from this. So his sense of self and his emotions, they're doing that thing we talked about before. He does things to aggrandize himself, but at the expense of his emotions. He does things to feel good at the expense of his sense of self. There are healthy ways to do this. He does not do them. Okay. So he's dealing with this. And there are a lot of famous people, successful people who were born during or right around eclipses. But anyway, what's going on in the sky right now, other astrologers have been talking about this for a while, is that Neptune, remember, it dissolves things, diffuses, like in the sea. Neptune has been on that 90-degree, I was telling you about that, the grit that creates the pearl, the grist for the mill, but it's this annoying, grinding energy. Again, there are healthy ways to deal with that. He is not doing them. So in this chart, because this is what's going on right now, let's see if the green works. Maybe. Now, put that there so you know it's a different chart. This Neptune has been squaring this eclipse in energy in Trump's chart. It's been squaring that whole thing. So it's been dissolving, grinding against his sense of self and his emotions, diffusing his sense of power, his sense of emotional well-being. There are healthy ways to deal with this that have to do with art, with creativity, with spirituality. He's not doing any of those, so forget it. But with this committee, because their chart, let's put it this way. When you meet somebody, when you spend all of your time around somebody, they're basically like a permanent aspect. They're like a permanent transit or a permanent. So because it started now, this Neptune is here to be grinding against Trump. The moon happened to be passing very closely there as well. So the moon is also, the emotional energy is grinding against this central part of Trump. And in the sky, the moon moved on. It's somewhere else now. But because when the committee was started, it freezes. You are and the embodiment, your energy is the embodiment of a particular place in space and time. And then you are the potential of that moment. And you unfold the potential of that moment. Well, it's like a permanent square. The existence of this, any of his interactions with this committee are not only going to dissolve his sense, but also the emotions of it are just going to irritate the ever-living heck out of him. While this Neptune is dissolving his sense of self. Okay, one thing where they will, I wonder how this is going to play out, because, let me show you this. Right here, all right, this is Trump's ascendant. Okay, this is what was coming up over the horizon. And what your ascendant is how you show yourself to the world. It is the dawn of the day. It's the first thing you see. It's how you present yourself. All right. I have a Gemini rising. I communicate. People think I'm a lot more chatty than I am. But they know something's not quite right because I've got that dour Saturn always organizing things also on my ascendant. So these are the ways. So I've accepted that, this is how I present myself. Well, Trump presents himself. This is in Leo. So he presents himself surrounded by gold. Well, fool's gold for a fool. Surrounded by gold, I am the center. Everyone should revolve around me. There are good and bad sides to every sign, so I'm not bashing anybody. There are bad sides to Scorpio. People talk about them all the time. But this is Leo. So this is how Trump presents himself. Also, this is where his Mars is, so taking action. He takes action as king to be king. He is what is important. Right? Just so happens that Mars for this committee that just came into being is in basically the same place. So I wonder how, if they're going to use some of his tactics against him, they're going to know his playbook. They're going to know how to work this. These are conjunct. If these were two people and they were decent, if these were two nice people, this would be fantastic for working together. Because you go to act, the other person's right there and understands. You have this wonderful, somehow they always see the best dance partner ever, because you move, they move, you're just in sync in how you take action. But if you are at odds, they know your tricks. They know your tricks. And I wonder how much that's going to play a part of this as well. Was there anything else that was jumping out at me? Hang on just a second here. Will that matter? Okay, it's not as important. We'll go on to, let me just quickly go over McCarthy. My goodness, this is taking far too long, but I think it's important. McCarthy. All right. First, let's just take a very, very very brief look at Kevin McCarthy's chart. Who we're dealing with here. Chris saying, just tell me it'll be okay and Trump will go down. It's not going to be pleasant for him. That's very, very clear. I'll answer the other questions in a few minutes. Murray's saying, I wonder if being sun, moon, in the same sign, it intensifies my energy. Yes, very much so. Okay. This is McCarthy's chart. Here are a couple of things that stand out to me about McCarthy's chart. What do you do? First thing you look, do you see more red or you see blue? Okay, so he is going to have less internal drama. Just within himself, fighting himself. Because there's a lot of blue. As a matter of fact, this is called a grand trine. This gargantuan triangle here. All right? You have this very positive, easy, can even make you lazy, energy flowing between these 3 points in the chart. So there's that. Also, midheaven, you were talking about status. Midheaven, high noon, Look, everybody, his sun is near his midheaven, his sense of self. Look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm the midheaven. I am here. I am me. Hello? Why aren't you looking at me? What's probably also a little frustrating, and again, there are healthy ways to do this, but he's not doing it. But that midheaven and sun are in Aquarius, the water bearer, the equalizer, the humanitarian sign, so this is look at me, look at me, look at me. And I'm in the midheaven. The sun rules Leo. That's the opposite of Aquarius. That's down here. So the sun in Aquarius is a little conflicted in the first place, but it's doubled by this sun conjunct midheaven. Oh, you bask in the light of me kind of thing, if he does this in a bad way. Right. This is also what could give him some luck in visibility, in rising through the ranks, because the sun gives the most energy in your chart, and it's sitting on that midheaven of status. So it's like, oh, okay. All right. So there's that. But the thing that really, let me just highlight this great big grand trine. And I am going to try to put the clean version of the negative side of a grand trine, try to translate this into something I can say on YouTube. See this grand trine here. A trine energy is wonderful on its own. It is in a water, like an inner tube, floating on an inner tube on a lazy river on a beautiful day. Just going with the current, just warm, and everything is just lovely. I am extremely fortunate in that I've got my sun and my moon, my sense of self and my emotions are trying each other. So no matter all this other tension and garbage, all this other tension and stuff that's in my chart, in here, there's a basic agreement between my sense of self and my emotions that I call it the hammock inside this ship that's always getting hit with storms. So, and that's just if you had one trine. Like that would be like one thing here, one thing here. No, he's got stuff here. Matter of fact, there's more than one thing here. There's a bunch of stuff here. There's a bunch of stuff here. There's something over here as well. So this is a lot of energy on this lazy trine. Lazy trine can give you luck in the sense of you're very confident about yourself. You're sure of yourself. Things seem to go well for you. When grand trines go bad, the clean version of how I will put this is you can become wildly self-congratulatory. Oh, I'm doing this. Oh, really? That was great. This is great. Oh, wasn't it great? Oh, this is wonderful. Oh, this is fantastic. Frosty Bean is saying grand trines and trines are often found in prisoners' charts. That self-confidence I can do, this is this, and he has this massive self-congratulatory thing going on all the time. And he's got his sun on the midheaven. No wonder he thinks he's going to be speaker and he's going to be president and he's going to be, of course he's going to be all these things. And then this older woman shows up and is speaker and he's not. the sun itself going, excuse you? Who do you think you are, peasant? So this is the essence of McCarthy. Katie, do you use an app or software? This is just a free chart from astro.com. It doesn't just explain things. Cafe Astrology has good explanations of things. And for the biggest database, if you want to use successful people, either artists or engineers or, historical figures, Astro Theme of all names, THEME, astrotheme.com has the biggest database. Hi, baby. Should I be worried? Grand Trine in Sagittarius. I'm the total opposite of self-congratulatory. No, this becomes wildly self-congratulatory. Gosh, that is so cleaner than the term I want to use. So much more. This is if it goes horribly wrong. This with that sun in midheaven is, I'm here. Of course I'm important. Of course I'm important. The king's here. Everybody should bow. Just joking. Not. Chris is saying we Geminis are not all bad, I promise. Oh, of course not. Of course not. That's what we're dealing with McCarthy. And it's just, and how I mentioned that I have a trine between my sun and my moon. So I have this inner, I have this little bit of calm while the storm rages everywhere else in my chart. Well, he doesn't have a trine, which is 120 degrees between his sun and his moon. What he has, it's the last thing I'll say about McCarthy. What he has, this is a 60 degree. This is a 60 degree space between his sun and his moon. And it's a blue line. I just highlighted it in green, but it's a blue line. Okay. It's called a sextile, 60 degrees. They're like trines, this 120 degrees, except it's half the length, and it's energizing. It's like all of that energy, but it gets you moving. It gets you up and doing. Also in a fairly positive way. Well, he's got that energizing on top of all this self-congratulatory energy, and the look at me. His emotions are saying, hey, you got this. Hey, self, look at you, champ. But that's McCarthy. So, the committee. My gosh, I've talked and talked and talked. Yes, okay. The committee and McCarthy. All right. I don't know the exact. Oh, no, it's exact. Oh, yeah. I was wondering if it was exact. It's exact. I was talking about earlier, if you have a situation where you have two people and their suns are opposite each other and just being around each other can lift one or the other sun up, but it does it at the expense of the energy of the other one, back and forth. Guess what McCarthy has with the committee? Suns are opposite each other. So his sense of self is going to be messed with by this committee, by their very existence. It gets worse. Okay, remember the inner blue circle is the committee. It's blue. And then the red is McCarthy's chart. Okay. All right. So their suns are opposite each other. But also, isn't that interesting? Where I talked about Saturn. Saturn is the wet blanket of the party. But it works hard. It is diligent. It has attention to detail. It forms things. It brings things into form. It is a hard worker. The color for Mars is red. The color for Saturn is black. It rules Capricorn, the workaholics of the zodiac. Right? You have to work. You have to come to grips with Saturn energy because there are no shortcuts with Saturn. But if you do the work, it will be very fair. If you do not do the work, you will fail and you deserve to. That's Saturn. Okay? Saturn for the committee is on top of McCarthy's sense of self and his midheaven of status. So as they are bringing things into form, as they are laying things out, as they are not cutting corners. When it comes to McCarthy, they're not going to cut corners. So not only is their very existence potentially weakening his sun. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, it'll make me feel better. I was wondering, it was like, but if there's something like Saturn weighing down that sun in the first place, astrologically, just that is going to beat down McCarthy's sense of self. I imagine he is going to be a prominent part of this because Pluto is your sense of power. Think of it. Plutonium. It rules plutonium, actually. And what do you do with plutonium? You can warm a city. You can make it uninhabitable for 10,000 years. It's your choice. He has got... These are slow-moving planets, though. So people born around this time have a similar thing. But, excuse me, his sense of power and his sense of rebellion, his sense of, I know what's best, I'm the power, me, is right on the ascendant. I'm so sorry. The ascendant is how you present yourself. It's what people see, right? His sense of power and rebelliousness, when you look at this committee, his sense of power and rebelliousness is right on that ascendant. It's just powering that ascendant. It's making the committee more visible. It's when planets land on an angle, it's called ascendant, descendant, midheaven, icy. It powers that. Also, because these planets move so slowly, these outer planets move so slowly, they're called generational planets. So when you have them in prominent places, you'd be amazed the number of very prominent people who have changed humanity, who have something like Pluto on their ascendant in their own charts. So they have outer planets. Lastly, I will point out with McCarthy there's let's put it, okay, let me grab the orange one. This is the last thing. I was going to answer questions today. Yeah, I'll still try, but anyway. 2 things to keep in mind. There is, I don't know how many of you have heard of Chiron. It's an asteroid. And the thing about Chiron is, because, these things are named for mythology. Chiron is the wounded healer. Where you have Chiron, it's this, it's kind of hard to see. Chiron, the symbol looks like that. Kind of like a key, sort of. Chiron was the wounded healer. I think he was actually a centaur. But he was shot with an arrow. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was shot with an arrow that had some kind of poison on it, so the wound could never heal. He survived it, but he had this wound that would never heal. And he knew such pain that he became a healer to alleviate other people's pain. And it's basically this idea that you go through all of the pain you go through, and then you use that energy to help others, right? At least in theory. But there is a trust me, correct, thank you. There is a part of your chart, there's a place in your chart that speaks to a wound inside of you that will likely never heal, or even if you can heal a lot of whatever that damage is, it's kind of a weak spot that can get to you, right? I have my Chiron is in Aries. I don't like bullies. I'm not saying all Aries are bullies. I'm saying that it speaks to that topic, that area. And I have learned over the years to stand up to bullies. But I have, it hurts. It can get to me. That kind of, bullying tact, when any sign goes bad, right? So, Polywanda, Charon rode souls across the river Styx. This is Chiron, Chiron. It's a different dude. All right. So here's the thing. This orange made this very hard to read. That's not good. Now, so let me do it this way. Let me see. Can I darken this? I think that'll work. And then the moon. So here's the thing. Even this committee is going to have a weak spot. It's going to have Chiron somewhere, which will make it uncomfortable, which will make it's what gets to it. Lo and behold, it's an Aries. It's not going to like bullies either, right? In the same place as the committee's Chiron is a different, it's a different, I'm trying to remember if it's, I'm wondering if it's been classified like with Pluto and what have you, or is Eris is still just an asteroid. Anyway, it's a small body, it's way out. And Eris, you can think of, actually, when Eris is good, you can think of it as Wonder Woman. That would be the archetype, right? The fighter for good, the fighter, but a fighter. Do not mess with Aries. Do not make Aries mad. Do not put up with nothing. Does cruelty? Oh no! Oh nay. Think of Wonder Woman. She didn't get mad. She didn't set out to hurt people, but she was going to put up with absolutely zip from people who were being cruel. Oh, that's going to stop, and it's going to stop now. That's Aries. McCarthy's Aries is almost exactly on the committee's Chiron. So he's going to be fighting. He's going to be indignant, and he's going to be the one. I am in the right, self-righteous if it goes bad, and that's going to be a weakness. The committee, there may be some bullying. There may be some energy that it's kind of going to be a little bit of a blind spot. Not the end of the world. This isn't involving 87 planets and, like there are 87 planets. You know what I mean? Right? So there's that. So I saw that and I was like, okay, well, it's Aries. We can do a lot, but all right. Here's the thing though. McCarthy has a Chiron too. He has a weakness. He has a thing that can, there's a spot you hit in him like everybody else. It hurts. Now, it's one thing to have this super strong little asteroid or planetoid or whatever this is out there. It's a whole different thing to have the committee's moon, one of the luminaries, the second strongest thing in the chart, smack the emotion, smack on McCarthy's Chiron. Boom. He's not going to enjoy this whole select committee experience. Oh, nay. Mm-mm. No. Nope. Yeah, that's not going to go well. There's some other things here, but those are the big things. So, was there anything left? Because I also looked and I won't go into it, but I just want to see if I also looked at the committee and against the chart for the U.S. We've got our Pluto return. Our Pluto is returning to where it was when the country was founded. So that's happening. So those are conjunct. So there's going to be the power internal. It's going to be part of this internal power struggle. How do we want to go forward? What's going to rule us? Who's going to rule us? That sort of thing. The U.S. chart. I'm trying to figure out where is it, because it's not where it usually is. All right, the U.S. chart is on the inside. That makes much more sense. Thank you. The U.S., our moon is in Aquarius. That equality, bring us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free, the great melting pot. That's Aquarius all over the place. Our emotional nature, our emotional needs are that Aquarian energy. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, the rebel. Freedom. Freedom from tyranny. Freedom from kingship. The North Node, what that the committee is here to do, is exactly, and I mean exactly, on the US's Uranus. The whole thing about the committee is it's all about keeping America free from tyranny. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Hold your applause. There are t-shirts for sale in the back. So that's the select committee. Belle, thank you for that. Freedom from tyranny, absolutely. And that's what they're going to work on. Okay. Let me see if I can answer some questions. Whew. Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right. Put that there. Put this down here. Hello, kitten. How are you? I wish I could show you guys. He's lying in the bed. And he's like this, and he's got one leg stretched out of the back. Oh, and you just yawned. Oh, you just look so comfy. It's just a good boy. All right. Oh, new salt and sage, by the way, for anybody. I know sometimes you guys worry about me and cleaning things out, but this is new salt and sage. Let's do some readings. Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right. So at 1:06, the tarot starts at 1:16:30. Jeez. Will Trump's kids testify in front of the January 6th Select Committee? Thank you, guys. Lab Rat, can we plug one of my guests? Absolutely. All right. Trump kids, hey. Sniffy Jr., the Precious, and what's his name? Will they be testifying in front of the January 6th Select Committee? 3 cards. And if it's interesting, we'll dig in. Oh, thank you, Fire Sky. Thank you. They don't have the resources they had to keep themselves away. Oh, and I know they, Jen Lynn, Becca, and Johnny call him I Eat Paste, but I don't know. I just think of him as forgettable because he's chosen to be. He could go out in the world and be his own man, but instead he's decided to be a shadow of a shadow and just accept that. Lovers. All right, the kids, that's a card for the reading. All right, 3 of Pentacles. High Priestess. Oh, no, it was the other way around, wasn't it? It was the other way around. My mistake. There we go. So they're not going to have I feel like they still have some financial wherewithal to be able to stand up to things, but they don't have the kind of backing of the Republicans and, all the stuff that Trump had to keep themselves from having to testify and having to be there. They're a family of secrets, and it's all twisted together in the families and the spouses and the whole thing. And what's the plan? What was the plan? How was this done? Looking, where was this? Where were you? Where was this? Where was that? Where was... let me see. All right, let me pull individually then. Do 3 cards on each of them. Sniffy Jr., the Precious, forgettable. So forgettable, that's what you are. So forgettable, you're not a star. All right, Sniffy Jr., the Precious. Not the precious. That precious. Thank you, Jolie. Thank you. And forgettable. Lyrics about you don't come easily because you're so unforgettable. Oh, yeah, your old way of living is not going, no. Mm-hmm. Yep. A whole new world. All right, Sniffy Jr. Fool. The fool, what is it? The fool does not fall far from the fool. King of Swords. Queen of Swords. It's actually hard to get hold of this energy. There is so much legal stuff hanging around these people. I don't know if I don't even know which investigation this is. I've got he's an idiot. He's being an he's willfully being an idiot. Look, if somebody, you're only born with a certain amount of intelligence. I'm not a genius, but there's doing the best with what you've got, and then and there's killing brain cells by sniffing powdered sugar. Those are prosecutors, those are investigators, and this is I don't see anything. And this is just his whole world back here, and I can't even tell if this is the committee, if this is Cy Vance, if this is Letitia James, if this is IRS, if this is, there's so much. Yikes. All right. The precious. Oh, she who is so put upon. She's married. She has many children. She's an adult. When her father was taking children out of mother's arms, setting up tender age camps. And she stayed. She stayed. She says, oh no, she tried to talk him out of it. But oh well, that didn't work, so I made millions last year. We're going on vacation again. I despise these people. Hemmed in. Oh, this is inauguration. Page of Pentacles. This is my card for Kushner. I don't know why he always comes up as a page. I think it's because his father was so prominent. He's always the sun, not even the knight. She has his money to fall back on, but this is massive law enforcement. Like, not law enforcement as in like calling the SWAT team. I mean, law enforcement, like a whole lot of indictments and what have you. And she is legally hemmed in, if not detained. And she's got Kushner money to fall back on. There's, again, so much coming for her, too. But it turns out that's going to be key, is that she is married to someone who is really rich, at least for now. Her brothers are not. So when Trump org goes down, she has something to fall back on. They don't. We're not really. All right, forgettable. Ace of Cups. Six of Wands. Empress. Oh, this is his wife. She who wears the pants. And there's nothing wrong with that. There are marriages out there just very clearly the woman dominates, the man loves it. He loves that she's in charge. He's comfortable with that. This is great. There are gender rebels. There's no, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with her being in charge, having the final say on everything, but that's how it is. And let's not pretend it's anything else. He's a little bit more sensitive than the others, but this is also the right of democratic power. This is the insurrection. That's his wife. I'm giving him pretty good advice, actually, generally speaking, other than, the advice of go build a life outside of your grifting father. So, yeah, I think they'll be questioned, but Ivanka has Jared. Something about his money's going to help her. Forgettable has Mrs. Forgettable. I know what her name is. That somehow helps him stay calm, even more even-keeled. Sniffy Jr.? He has nothing but more investigations, more prosecutions ahead of him. So that's that. What else do we have here? Okay. Eric Swalwell. Fire Sky was asking, where are we? We're at 127.30. Swalwell. Will Swalwell's lawsuit be successful? All right, take a look at that. Oh, Rob, I know her name. But she's Mrs. Forgettable. You know how in Gary's saying mom was in charge, dad said yes, mama? You know how in the romance subgenres, it's actually broken down into subgenres, and like whatever you're into, it'll break it. You can find exactly the types of things that you like, and it's all broken down into. There is a whole section on the appeal of what the term for it is in romance novels is the beta male. It sells among people, to each their own. Holly and friends, pretty please make Swalwell successful. Eric Swalwell, how you doing? Better now that Democrats are in charge. That's true. Is Swalwell's suit going to be successful? Let's just say he has no patience with authoritarianism. Let's put it that way. 9 of Swords. It's oh my gosh. He feels not only the pain he felt that day, but he's very empathetic toward all the other people who've been suffering. Temperance, trying to help. King of Cups. Democrats in charge. Hanged Man. He wants to help people. Look, you know, I read on politicians every day. I have yet to read on one who's a saint. You know what I mean? But Swalwell has really good energy. And he really does care about people. This is trying to help this. This is him being the Democrat and sensitive king. Not authoritarian at all. King. And this is the whole hang and all the other stuff that was done that day, but also suspending all of this so it never happens again. Suspension, turning everything up on its head. Oh, this is not going to happen again. Fruits of labor. It's a civil suit, I believe. And Jolie saying Linda G predicted he'll be president one day. Oh, I've been saying that for a long time too. From when I first started the channel, I was getting that. So, or as soon as I started reading on him, I've been getting that from way back. It can take a little time, but yeah. So the main thing I'm getting is how much he cares. Walking around and seeing his fellow congressional people, Congress people, their staff members, custodial staff in the building, security, everybody hurting. Everybody hurting. Tom was saying, but he needs to possibly channel or block stuff. Polly Wanda, I was surprised Swalwell did so poorly as a presidential candidate. It's not his time yet. Wait for it. That's my feeling. But check with other readers, and I am not 100%. I am not 100% correct. It's not how this works. So, oh, thank you, Barbara. So, is your suit going to be successful? Your lawsuit? Oh, he's mad. He wants to dig. He wants to get down into the foundations. He wants to rip the foundations of this whole authoritarian, fascist. Oh, just dig. Just wow. 9 of Wands. Yeah, talk about PTSD. 4 of Pentacles. Chariot. 5 of Cups. Knight of Swords. Interesting. I think this is actually going to open up some criminal charges. That's what this looks like, and it's kind of what it feels like. Is anybody else getting this? You have anybody else getting this? Because this is everybody hurting. This is the Republicans who weren't involved also hurting and being abandoned by their own party. There's some disappointment here for him, but I have aggressive law enforcement. I have the 2 cards of aggressive law enforcement, both, let's say, terrestrial and cosmic, are on either side of this some disappointment, because there's still stuff there. And this has to do with criminal stuff. It almost feels like his suit will kind of fall by the wayside or be kind of an afterthought. There's big trouble coming for some of these people, and this feels criminal. Let me see if I can get any more information, because this feels criminal rather than Swalwell's suit open up criminal charges or lead the way? Polly Harris Swalwell, nice ticket. Yeah, I'd vote for him. Okay. Just 3. Does Swalwell's suit open up other suits? There's so much. There's so much. This is starting to become a little bit of a problem. Trying to read on some of this stuff. There are so many boots about to drop. So many shoes about to drop. Just waiting for the other shoe to drop. It just I don't pick one. It's like I don't know. It reminds me of one of my favorite lines. Do you remember the TV show Stargate? I know, obscure pop culture references. Daniel Jackson was, of course, my favorite character. And in the TV version, Michael Shanks playing him, there was this time when someone was having, a human person, somebody he worked with, was having trouble. I don't really know what to say. I don't know how to communicate with you, or something like that. And Daniel Jackson turned around and he said, I speak 23 languages. Pick one. I loved that. There are 23 cases. Pick one. Wheel of Fortune, 8 of Cups, 7 of Swords. It's multiple places, fate. This is huge. This is in multiple places. Evidence being collected here, there, and everywhere about theft, about wrongdoing, about thieves, big and small. Okay, I don't know what to do about this because the energy is the energy. It's nothing I can. I'm sure there are other readers who will be just perfectly fine. They'll be able to just pick out exactly what, but to me, it's just starting to feel like just like a huge mass of that, and it's close too. Okay. Judy had a question about what's up with Donald Sniffy Jr.'s girlfriend, Gargoyle. She is trying to make a move on Alex Rodriguez. A-Rod? I think I'm going to stick to the more political questions. I don't want to read on A-Rod. Ew. Ew. Is Gargoyle abandoning Sniffy Jr.? Is Gargoyle abandoning Sniffy Jr.? Were you saying need to get under the desk now? Yes. Queen of Cup. Oh, gosh. They're grossing up my cards. I hate when they do this. So now the yuck meter is going off. Oh, yes, it is. Queen of Swords. Four of Pentacles. That's Trump world. Oh, she's still, this is saying partnering. Both of these are her. She is a legend in her own mind. This is the Trump power base. This is partnership. She might still be stringing him along. Oh, Polywanda, if that is the Maxwell trial on the horizon. Oh, dear gracious. That's a Google question. Oh, great Google, we beseech thee for information. I couldn't work at TMZ. There's so many things that would come in and I'd be like, ew. King of Swords. Oh, there's so much law stuff about to land. She's probably keeping her options open, sort of. It feels like you could basically ride an elephant through the room at times and Junior wouldn't notice. She wants what she wants. As long as there's a chance he's going to be successful. I think she's there. But dysfunction. Dysfunction. Whew. No relationship is worth that. At that point, you don't even have a relationship. Basically, you're dating a bag of entertainment only. What do I know? But based on what people have said, based on my reading, you at that point if you're dating an addict, let's put it that way. If you're dating an addict, you're not even dating a person anymore. You're dating a bag of drugs. That's it. But anyway. Okay. Rudy. Oh, Rudy's in trouble, Holly. 143. Rudy, there was an article about him this morning. He is out of money. Thank you, Onene. Stephanie, is Junior otherwise occupied? Powdered donuts. Yes, Jolie. Powdered donuts. Many powdered donuts. Just loves powdered donuts. Okay. Rudy's out of money. It was one of the top stories this morning. Rudy. What's going on with him? He's in trouble. So are you going to finally, okay, well, every time I try to read on him, I get a mental image of him. He's on the floor in like an open button-down shirt and his underwear, just on the floor. And it's like, well, are you going to, okay, stand up, go have a shower, put on some clean clothes, here's some actual food, some coffee, eat that, and then we'll talk. Okay, now what's going on? So sad. I'm sorry, the word that actually just keeps coming to mind is drunkard. It's just, Two of Swords, Seven of Cups, Knight of Pentacles, Ace of Cups, emperor. I'm going to say something controversial here. And I don't like saying controversial things, stirring up drama, but I'm just going to throw this out there. You do you. I want to make that clear before I say this. You do you. What you're into, if you're not hurting anybody, more power to you, honestly. Honestly. Thank you, Marie. Thank you. Fixing to what you put rain shoes on my desk. My controversial thing is this. I went to art school. I have been around people who take a lot of substances, both liquid and solids. A lot. My experience, you do you. My experience personally, drugged people are boring. They just are. Being around somebody who drinks this much, I got stuff to do. Gary, see how many times he came on Fox? Totally, yeah. White Dragon, what artist and what medium? So, Two of Swords. This is legal decisions he's made, trying to be Trump's Uber lawyer. He's pickled. He desperately needs money, and he's sending every warning sign he can send to Trump Emperor to save me. And he's not hearing back. Paintings? Oh, I have more favorite paintings rather than a favorite artist. I have too many. My all-time favorite painting is probably The Love of Souls by Jean Delville. But there are a lot of paintings I really like. Anyway. I love arts and crafts. Arts and crafts furniture. I love Art Nouveau. There's just all kinds of stuff I like. Jolie, I guess when you wade into psychic gunk your whole life and deal with the seedy side of drugs and alcohol, it's bound to happen. Numbing your senses. You don't have to, though. White Dragon likes French Impressionist. Maybe, yeah. Is there anything more here? He's in pain, and he's not listening to anybody. It's hard to get his attention. Does he have a daughter? Does he have a daughter who would be trying to, come on, Dad, get up? I don't know. Trump the bully. He's just fixated on Trump the bully, and he's in chaos. It's sad. It's sad. All right. What else have we got here? Helen Sweet, you had a question about Mark Meadows. Trump and cast members are meeting at $1 million. Where are they getting the money? They have all the MAGA suckers willing to give them. Jay Lester, yes, his daughter says he drinks too much. Okay, I'll leave France Milsey. Juliana, she's hurting. You know what? I think that's actually going to do it for me today. I've been on Some of these we could look at tomorrow. And I'm sorry that the astrology ran late, but I'm getting tired. So I will be back tomorrow. I am here every single day of the year. If I don't answer your question on one day, just ask again. Seriously, just ask again. And I usually get around to things. Rasslin Reed saying my dad worked at the art museum. Very nice. Oh, fantastic. Excellent. All right. Ed K, permitted. Is it permitted? Thank you. No, I appreciate that. Catherine Autumn said Art Deco. Oh yes. Who doesn't love Art Deco? Wow. Anyway, thank you so much for everything. You make my heart happy. So thank you. All right. And I will see you. Oh, Holly and French, I'll probably be late tomorrow, but okay. We'll be here. I'll be here. Any day spent with you makes it a good day. Big hug. All right. Hang in there. In 2 hours, I'll be over at Book Art Media as usual to work on creative stuff. You're always welcome to just join in. Good way to carve some time out of your day to do something creative. And then I will be back here tomorrow. All right, hang in there. I hope the rest of your day goes really well. And I'll talk to you later.